From the group Architecture for Refugees. Actually, Architecture for Refugees is an initiative based in Zurich. Yes. Well, Pecha will put his recording microphone on. Yeah. I will say a few words. So Pecha is also part of the artists coming in Albania as members in the pool of the Future Architecture platform. Pecha is an architect that operates in different levels with his initiative. It's a digital platform in order to gather data and information regarding refugees. But I think he can say much more about the initiative himself and without me, let's say, interrupting. So a big applause for Pecha, until he will start very shortly.
Thanks for the intro. Hi everybody. This is not the first slide, so I have 20 seconds. I'm a Hungarian architect living now in Switzerland for a while, and I started to deal with the architectural aspects of the refugee crisis last year, in 2015. And it's a very huge topic, and sorry, nothing. So it's a huge topic, and I started just to focus on one thing for this small Pecha Kucha. It is about mapping the jungle, which is in Calais in France. So I started to deal with the problem in 2015. We organized a workshop in Budapest, which was kind of mapping the situation in the capital of Hungary, where there was a lot of refugees in next to the railway station. So we try to understand what does it mean to have an informal refugee camp or something like that in an urban area. Then I started to follow a lot of Facebook pages which were dealing with the refugee crisis and which try to help somehow for these people in need. This is one page, Building in Calais Jungle, which tries to gather architects and builders to build smaller and bigger projects for refugees within the jungle. And there are around 20-30 Facebook pages and groups which are dealing only with the jungle. So how does it look like when you arrive to the jungle? This is the first picture that you get. There are very few streets. This part was totally occupied a few 2-3 months ago, but then they destroyed the municipality destroyed this area, so people had to move. This is a shower and the water point just next to the church. Everything in the jungle is informal, so there are no rules, let's say, no regular buildings. Everything is built out of any kind of material that you can find. This is an overview. As you see on the left, this is the highway which is going to the UK, and now there is a 100 meter long sandy area, and in the other side you can see the jungle. The jungle is a tent camp, and some wooden huts you can also find, and containers. And how did we map this camp? We walked around. We were looking for lookout points. So we went up. We took a look to understand what is where, how does it function. We also talked a lot with the residents, let's say, with the users. This is how it looked like from above. As you see, there are containers here. This is a formal camp organized by an organization. We also mapped the city of the jungle with refugees. This is when you ask a local to draw something, they explain you everything. What is where, how does it function. It's like in a normal city when you ask someone on the street. They tell you the story, they tell you the streets, they tell you the names of the streets. And you also start connecting with people. So this was the first connection. We started with a simple question, and after a few minutes you already had a kind of good relationship with someone. And then we started walking around and observing what's going on. So you won't see too many people on these photos, but it's not because there are no people in this camp. There is about 10,000 people living in this totally informal camp. But there are no people because they are refugees, so they don't want to be on the photo. And you can also start finding interesting spots within the jungle. For example, this welcome van is for new arrivals who are arriving to the camp. They have no clue how big is the camp, what can they find and where, so they can find a lot of information in these spots. We also try to collect a lot of information about the existing structure and the existing situation. What kind of materials, maps are there, the users, how do they see this camp, so what do they understand. And we also start again this kind of discussion and this kind of social interaction with the users. We try to make small talks with them. It's very simple and it's very easy, mostly if they are from Sudan. They smile immediately and they start talking to you and asking questions. And we also try to understand the local culture, the local food. So even though we are architects, we try to map everything, social questions and food and culture. And food is great there. They even say that the people from Calais go to the camp to eat because it's even 10 times better than in any restaurants in the city. And then we asked again residents to draw their drawings. So this map was drawn by Ibrahim, who was on the second or third photo. As you see, it's very interesting. Then while we were walking in the camp, we used simple apps for smartphones. So you just walk and you trace your way. And when you are back in your home, you can digitalize the way, so you can use it as to see where are the streets, where are the footpaths, and so on. And why did we do this whole mapping? We did it because the users don't know, let's say, anything about this small town, which is for 10,000 people. They don't know where they are. They don't know really nothing or anything. And this is an open source map, so you can find it on opensourcemap.org. This is the camp. As you see, there is the main road, there is some green areas, there is a huge formal camp, and so on and so on. There are a lot of mosques, there are some schools, infrastructure, and etc.
Thank you, Pecha, also for writing Hungarian dialect, which is really nice. It means that you're in the local culture. I also must say that since Pecha finished the presentation, and before also all of you finalize your questions and your thoughts, that Pecha is dealing with a workshop here in Tirana. And you can say a few more words about the workshop and what are your findings till now. But I should say that the topic of the refugee crisis all over the world is an issue that as architects, but also as citizens of the world should be concerned and addressed. Maybe you can say a few words?
Yeah, so we are doing a workshop called Camping in Tirana, and the workshop has two main goals. First of all, to deal with the topic of refugee crisis and its architecture aspects. We are designing an educational and art activity space within camps. And the other one is also important, not what we do, but how we do. So our workshop is dealing a lot with collaboration and how can we design together. So we are 25 people, and it generates a lot of discussion and a lot of fight within the team. Who is deciding, who is designing, and who is writing text. So tomorrow we will present the workshop in the university, in the Polish University. So if there is someone who is interested in, then please come there. It's gonna be around 12. What else? Yeah.
Okay, actually, I'm really curious to see tomorrow's findings in the presentation of the workshop, which everyone is invited actually. It's free for the public. I think that's around 12 o'clock tomorrow at Polish University. If you would like to see what Bench and the students found out, it would be a good opportunity to also extend the discussion.
Yeah, or even plus, I mean, it would be the best if you would come tomorrow and you would also check on Facebook. There is a Facebook page called Camping Camping Beyond Architecture, and there you can find photos about the workshop and about the process as well.
So, any questions? Okay, maybe you can come a bit closer.
Hello, Benjamin. My question is actually a set of 3 questions. I was curious to know how long these people are supposed to stay in the camp, and also what problems do they face, and how do you as architects and humans help them to deal with these problems?
Yeah, thanks for the questions. First question is how long are they staying in this camp? This camp is there for, I mean, yeah, let's say around a year. There is a few people who are already there from the beginning, but it's kind of changing continuously. So let's say from a few days to a few weeks to even like 6 months, 9 months. So there are people who are already there from last year December, and they are still in these kind of conditions. How are the conditions? And yes, the conditions. I don't know how many of you have ever been in a camping or in a festival where sometimes the sun is out and everybody is super happy. The conditions are perfect, every sunshine and happiness. And then some days it's raining like hell, and yeah. Normally it's during the summertime, but this camp is there also in winter time, so it's like, let's say, 5 degrees, it's poor rain, and your tent is in water. So this is kind of the conditions, and it's not the only thing that not only the physical for your body, but also the psychological. So these people, many of them are running because of the war situation. So for them it's even a bigger problem to handle their physical and post-traumatic problems, let's say. And how do we, or how do the organizations and volunteers handle these problems and these issues? There are a lot of people who try to help, so there are a lot of organizations, let's say 20, 25 smaller, bigger organizations are on site, and volunteers, I would say hundreds. In one time there are like 200 volunteers trying to help in which way? Trying to organize events, drawing, art events, discussions, schools, English, French, lessons for people, users, cooking. There are a lot of small kitchens, smaller and bigger kitchens, which provide food for refugees in the camp. So let's say kind of everything that you can imagine here in the city of Tirana, you can find it there, but in a very special way, in terms of spatial and social way. Yeah.
Before we have any other questions, I would like also to have a question, but also we'll wait for you to explain a few more things. The question is very simple. What are the needs of the refugees when they go to the camp? Which are the 5 basic or 3 basic things that they need there?
Mm-hmm. I think there is this hierarchy of Maslow hierarchy, which has like the basic is the food food, water, I don't know what, shelter, something that is like the basic. And then the next one is about psychological issues, and the third one is the fourth one. So it's like for every normal human being, but I would really add and focus and like highlight the most, let's say the most important is information. So Wi-Fi and electricity in camps is like now the newest. So even the United Nations, they now say this, it's a human right to have internet. So that's, yeah.
actually really important. Information now is really the main focus of our fast, and also the access to information, which is one of the fundamentals, right, as humans, to get access. Any last questions? Okay, probably later we will continue the discussion. I would like to thank you, Pecha, a lot for his contribution to this talk. And I have Jack self.